Today on Monkey Life, Chimp Tikko goes under the knife when he gets a tooth infection.
He's the worst one I've ever seen. Sometimes you get some hair packing, but not like this.
Newcomer Flo has a rude awakening when she meets leader Sam.
But she needs to learn.
And young golden-cheeked gibbon Tien is on the lookout for a mate. Monkey World in Dorset is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescues and rehabilitates abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
I think this one's a little boy, and I think that one over there might be an older lady.
The park provides a home for more than 240 monkeys and apes, allowing them to live out their lives in a happy and safe environment. It's early morning, and at Hananya's enclosure, the chimps are about to be let outside. But today, one of them is going to be held back because he needs to see the dentist. Second-in-command Tico has developed an infection in his tooth through over-grooming.
Tico's got a tooth in the back of his mouth that we're really worried about and that needs to come out, so he needs some dental work. So he's had a week of antibiotics, and today's the big day.
Like most of the chimps in Hananya's group, Tico loves to groom. It's a way of solidifying friendships. But he's managed to get a lot of hairs caught around his molars.
He's a very influential and important animal in this group, and, you know, we're not going to relax until, you know, it's been done and he's back up and about.
The chimp team have called in the services of wildlife dentist Peter Kertesz and wildlife vet John Lewis. But it's going to be down to the keepers to get Tico to sleep for the operation.
The best way to anaesthetize him would be by an injection given by the keepers. They know him, he will let them vaccinate him, and therefore they might let the keepers give him the injection for the anaesthetic.
The other chimps are so pleased to be let outside, they don't care Tico is missing. And Hananya is too busy throwing his weight around to notice anything out of the ordinary. The primate care staff have isolated Tico in a back bedroom. And while the rest of the team wait patiently outside, Cara and Lisa try to persuade the big chimp to let them inject him.
The last thing Tico needs is to see strangers milling around, because he'll be even more suspicious than he probably is at the moment anyway. So we're just keeping out here.
As soon as the anaesthetic has taken effect, it's all systems go. Normally, an operation like this would be carried out in the hospital. But John has decided it'll be safer to do it in the chimp house. Tico has had a bad reaction to an anaesthetic in the past, so John wants him under for as little time as possible. The problem is immediately evident to Peter.
Fur from either himself or another animal, and it's packing between the teeth, and it's packing between the gum and the tooth as well, in the little pockets. And of course, it just buries itself down, and it sort of travels around inside the gum as well. He's the worst one I've ever seen. Sometimes you get some hair packing, but not like this.
As well as being uncomfortable, the hair can cause infection, which is what has happened to Tico.
We're going to take that tooth out, but the tooth next to it, if you look at this one over here, there's a little bit of movement on that tooth as well. Not much. We're just going to take out the wisdom tooth first. I'm just loosening it now. You can see it's looking inside the socket. The socket seems to be intact.
While Tico is sedated, Peter decides to do some preventative work to try to avoid the same thing happening again.
What Peter's doing now is removing or reducing the pocket between the gum and the tooth, so there's less of a trap for hair. So in future, hopefully, he won't trap so much hair on his lower incisors there.
Tico will be sore for the next few days after this operation, but should soon be a lot more comfortable.
Oh, you went very well. We got that wisdom tooth out. The other tooth, is, which is a little bit loose next to it, that's going to firm up because now all the irritation's been taken away. And I think we've done everything possible for him, and it's going to heal up very quickly. And I think he's going to have a more comfortable life.
But the staff will have to keep a close eye on Tico to make sure they keep the problem at bay. At the orang nursery, young Jin seems to be having a whale of a time. It's several weeks since he moved over from Gordon's group and left his mum Xiao Kuai. But he doesn't seem homesick at all. The 6-year-old has made lots of new friends and has been reunited with his elder brother, Kai. This morning, staff are putting their breakfast of fruit out on the climbing frame to encourage the orangs to take some exercise and work for their meal. When there's food around, these guys can really move. And confident Jin is straight in there. His brother Kai isn't shy either, although manipulating the fruit out is trickier than it seems. Oisin doesn't climb very often, but there's no way she's missing out on breakfast. She's made remarkable progress since she arrived at the park 4 years ago. Her adopted son Sylvester can't get at the fruit. But not to be outdone, he tries to suck out the juice from the bottom instead. Armee and her sidekick Jolie are never far from each other's side and don't seem to have had to make too much effort to find their breakfast. And while Dinda freshens up, Jin is gathering the troops ready for another play session. The orangs aren't the only ones having breakfast. So too are the park's 10 stump-tailed macaques.
Get some of this. Ready?
The stumpies are encouraged to forage for their food, as they would in the wild. But 3 of the ugly monkeys, as they're affectionately known here, have been held back inside. Leader Sam and dominant female Kelly are about to meet elderly newcomer Flo, who is enviously watching the others enjoying breakfast outside in the sunshine. Flo arrived last night after a long journey from Germany. For the last 25 years, she's lived at an animal rescue centre in Munich. But recently, her partner died, so it was decided to move her to Monkey World so that she would be around other macaques. As with any primate at the park, Flo will be introduced to her new housemates gradually.
We'll probably try giving her different combinations of individuals over the next few days, just so that over time she does get to meet all the different individuals, but we've got to carefully decide what kind of combinations we try her with, so as not to overwhelm her, and then obviously gradually just build it up over time until eventually she gets to be in with them permanently.
Stumpies have a very strict hierarchy, and Sam is leader of this group. Flo has been around people all her life, so the team aren't sure how she'll behave with other macaques. Incredibly, she submits to him straight away.
I'm quite surprised how relaxed Flo seems with everything. She's quite chilled out, so she doesn't seem stressed out by the situation at all. So far, she's coping really, really well with it.
But when Sam approaches Flo by surprise, she takes offence. The elderly Stumpy has a lot to learn about macaque etiquette. Sam is a good leader and a friendly Stumpy, but he is the boss and will expect Flo to toe the line. Kelly is allowed in next. She's the highest-ranking female in the group.
Flo's kind of been doing the correct behaviour, sticking her bum in the air, submissive behaviour, stuff like that. She will throw her weight around if she needs to. But obviously, it's all a complete learning curve for her, so she needs to work out what our hierarchy structure is of our current stump-tail macaques. And obviously, by introducing her gradually to the individual, she's going to work out where she fits into that. And we'll just keep going at a nice slow pace and get her slowly used to all of our guys.
Considering the upheaval Flo has faced in the last 24 hours, she seems to be settling in well. But she's a feisty female, and only time will tell how well she fits into this group of grumpy and at times bad-tempered ugly monkeys. Golden-cheeked gibbon Tien is now 7 years old and nearing maturity. He still lives with his family, Mum Peanut, Dad Pongyo, Sister Tianang, and little brother Tico, but he'll soon be ready to go it alone.
Tien is an absolutely stunning looking gibbon. Right now, he is in his absolute prime. He's a young adolescent, just turning into adulthood, and he's really bulking out. His hair looks absolutely fantastic. It's shiny, it's immaculately groomed. He just looks absolutely amazing. Perfect category for finding himself a young woman now.
One of the biggest signs that he's ready to leave is that he's started to sing on his own.
So you can see Tien at the moment, he's right up at the top of the tree. He's all by himself and he is singing. This is a really good indication that Tien is now a mature adult male and he's actually stepping away from his family. That song that he's singing at the moment is actually out there saying, I am a handsome, virile, strong young man and I'm looking for a lady to set up home with. It's an amazing sound. It's a little bit haunting because he's all by himself, but it's an absolutely wonderful thing to see him doing.
In the wild, gibbons would naturally begin to move away from their parents as they mature, but in captivity they can't do this. Tien is trying to spend more time on his own within the enclosure, but the team will soon need to step in.
This is obviously a crucial time for us to really be watching what's going on with Tien. You know, he wants to leave his family and we need to observe how the family dynamics are working, make sure everybody's happy and comfortable. But we also need to now come up with a plan for his future, work out where his new home's going to be and who that new home's going to be with.
Tien was the first golden-cheeked gibbon to be born at the park. Of all the other golden cheeks here, the most likely match for Tien is Kim. She still lives with Mum Zoe and Dad Jake, and is only 5 years old, so hasn't yet shown any signs of wanting to leave her family. And she hasn't started her colour change, which all female golden-cheeked gibbons do as they reach adolescence.
She's not really a sexually mature adult female, but she's a very confident lady. She knows her own mind, so I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem just for her to actually leave home a few months early.
If the team do decide to put Tien and Kim together, they'll have to find a new enclosure for them, as gibbons are territorial and they'll no doubt want to start their own family.
This is what we want to do, but how do we go about that? We need to find a home for them, and whether we move someone else out, put them in, or we have to build something new, that's the next thing that we have to decide.
Tien and Kim are fortunate to be living in such strong family groups. Not all the monkeys at the park are so lucky. Baby woolly monkey Bueno Junior is being hand-reared by the team because his mum rejected him when he was born by emergency caesarean section. The plan is for him to join Lavar's group, and he's started spending time at the house, but until now he's had to stay in a small bedroom mainly on his own because he's so tiny. But today, staff are making special preparations for him because he's going to join the other woolies in the big playroom.
Junior has decided that it's time for him to start exploring the house, and we have to try and cover any eventualities that may happen and try and keep him as safe as possible while he's still finding his feet. And this is what we do. We put bark chip down just so that there's a soft landing in case the worst happens.
The playroom is full of hoses for the monkeys to move around on. But because of Junior's size, Sandra is making some slight additions.
We've got a few things in here like the cargo net and the hosing and stuff that all the others use. But what we're going to do is add a few more dog toys to it as well, which is what he's been swinging around on in his bedrooms up until now. He is very tiny, and obviously being hand-reared, he doesn't have a mum there to look after him and carry him around and show him where it's safe to step and where it's slightly wobbly. So the least we can do is help him out with that and just make sure that everything is as safe as possible for him.
There are 6 other woolly monkeys in this group, and they're all eager to find out what's been going on.
Come on, guys.
Junior is wary of joining the others at first.
Come on, Junior.
But after leader Levar and dominant female Paquita have made their way into the playroom, he decides to follow them.
Come on, then. Hi.
The little woolly quickly gets into his stride and starts exploring. He heads to young female Isla for some reassurance. He's already met her as she was the first woolly he was introduced to.
He's just come in and went straight for it, and he's exploring everything. Hasn't quite made his way over into this part of the room yet, but he is sort of centred around where he knows, and he's sort of venturing out a little bit more than he was, so the dog toys have really helped him.
While Junior takes a break, Levar keeps a watchful eye over the young woolly.
Levar's the dominant male in this group, so he has all the protection duties on his shoulders, and he's very, very good with the babies. We're very lucky that all of our dominant males here at Monkey World have all really been fantastic when it comes to having new babies around. Levar's a bit different in that obviously he's had these hand-reared babies introduced to him, and not just Bueno Junior, all the other 3 boys that we've hand-reared previously were all introduced to Levar initially as well, and he just takes them on. He's absolutely fantastic, so he is a bit different to our other males in that he is so welcoming with them, but actually we suspect that if we were to do it with the other 2 males, they'd be exactly the same because they just all adore having the babies around.
The confident little woolly seems fearless around the others and is enjoying his newfound freedom.
Clearly, he is loving being in there, so it's really, really nice to see him so happy. And he should be a full-time 24/7 member of the group very, very soon. It's time for us to finally let him go and just be the woolly monkey that we know he's going to be.
At Hananya's enclosure, Tico is back with the other chimps and appears to be recovering well from his tooth operation. The group are always a little unsettled when one of them disappears, so are happy to see him.
I think it was really important to get Tico back into the group as soon as possible. Obviously, as Hananya's number 2, he does play a really key role in this group, and actually all of the staff noticed how uncomfortable and anxious Hananya was to have Tico absent, so it was important to get him back in. It was obviously a stressful day knowing that he had to go down, you know, under potentially quite a long anaesthetic and the risks involved there, so we really were all on edge, but he's healed as we hoped he would. We're really happy how it's all gone, and we can all breathe a sigh of relief and just let him get on being the number 2 in this really great group.
Although the operation was successful, the chimp team will have to be extra vigilant from now on with Tico's dental hygiene to make sure the problem doesn't reoccur. They'll still need to tweeze out any hairs that get trapped.
Right. Good boy.
It's really helped us to have the surgery on him done and be able to cut those gums back and remove that tooth at the back that was giving the problem. We've got quite a detailed procedure going on with various implements, and we've changed a little bit what we're doing following the advice of the dentist.
Good boy, Dee.
All the chimps at the park are given clicker training, known as operant conditioning, where they're taught to present parts of their body to the staff in return for treats.
Still got banana in your mouth, Pete.
This training is essential to carry out health checks like this.
Boy.
I do think he enjoys the sessions. He's obviously motivated by the rewards, but he's not one that always comes to the basic opera conditioning session. So I do think he likes the fact that this is just about him and it's a bit of attention And he's pretty cooperative, and it is amazing what you can do with these animals when you build a relationship with them. Good boy. He must feel quite vulnerable with his mouth open and us sticking various implements in there. So it's a great testament to the staff that he trusts us enough to do that, and that we can do it in a safe way that doesn't interrupt his life. He gets to stay with the group, but it avoids, you know, further surgery and anaesthetic, which obviously we want to do, you know, really at any level.
Very good, T. It's a lot easier because the gums are much further back. You can actually get in the gaps of his teeth. Whereas before, it was the gum was so overgrown between the gaps, it was just big holes. So you can see it much better now. Boy cheeks.
But not everyone is happy with all the attention Tico is getting. Shamak, who's a bit of a clown, decides his teeth are in need of a little help too. Next time on Monkey Life, a new baby marmoset gives the team great cause for concern.
I reckon he's on a knife edge right now. I don't know if he's going to make it or not.
And an emergency at the Capuchin house when Winslow is injured in a fight.
The wound is quite nasty. It's quite a size.